I'm so jealous because I've been trying to get Harriet around to buy one or get me one
for anyone who hasn't listened. Happy Nintendo Switch 2 Day!
Woo! Yeah. I think I'm the only one who doesn't have one. I'm the only one. I mean, I was joking to say I was No Switch Ben, obviously, and they've changed my name in Discord to
Have
No
you
Switch
not
Ben.
been with a piranha plant mooing past your opponent?
No.
In America, yeah.
Not just.
You know, there's you can hear the voice when you're in range of them. So
No way.
Oh, it's like proximity chat stuff.
Proximity chat, yeah.
Proximity chat. That must be mental.
No.
Can we find a way to do an episode whilst we all play Mario Kart?
We all need to be
quite
piranha
good.
plants talking to each other. Yeah.
That must be crazy though, if it's because of course it's zooming past each other constantly. That must be quite funny.
24 cows on one track.
Now that's a fun way of using proximity chat, because the only other experience I have is obviously playing Warzone, and it's the most terrifying thing ever when you just suddenly hear a random European language, like 4 people talking around you.
And you don't know if they're a threat or not.
People finally realise it's not Warzone we talk about or something, I don't know.
They could be
Bad
saying,
guys.
please die, give me all your money, or they could be saying, join us. Very good. Well, welcome everybody to the SpilltheTeaCG. I think we're on episode 35 now. With us, of course, is myself, Benjamin Yard, Joe Bernard. Did I say Ben Bernard? No, Benjamin Yard, Joe Bernard. It's because Yard and Bernard.
I know a Ben Bernard.
It's because Yard and Bernard rhyme. I didn't think of that. And then Alex Dow, of course, who we all know and love. It's been a good, busy couple of weeks for us all, of course, with a couple of events here or there. I think the first event that we have missed on the pod was Portland, right? So Portland Regionals, we know, Joe, that you went and you had a good time over there, and then of course you had to hurry on back to the European region for the Bologna Special Championships, where you met up with our good friend Alex Dow as well. So let's go into Bologna first, just because it was our most recent. Do you want to go to Bologna first? No, let's go to Portland first. That makes sense.
Reverse
Yeah.
order, is it?
It's because I said on the agenda, let's go into Bologna first. No, but it does make sense to go into Portland, doesn't it? Actually think about
I
it.
would.
Yeah.
Right,
So
Joe,
Joe,
tell us
play in
all.
the
Tell us
event. Yeah,
everything
play us everything.
So I flew in on the Thursday evening, went and got food with Emily and Skarzik and his partner. Met his corgis. He has 2 corgis that he brought to the hotel, which is brilliant. So they were zooming around the halls in the evening, which was wonderful. And then I was playing in the event. I was playing Dragapult Charizard as a combo because a couple of reasons actually. It won the Champions League in the upcoming format, so I sort of wanted to give it that test run before NAIC anyway, because the only cards that it was playing that I couldn't play was the Shaman and 2 Watchtowers, which admittedly would help out a lot against one of the matchups I lost to, which was Terrorbox. I went 5-3 on the day, losing to a Terrorbox, losing to a straight Dragapult, which was Calcona. That's the bad beat where I was in a really good position but didn't maximize my counter placement and Phantom Dive. I think looking back, I made a mistake in that I was going constant 6s onto Dreepies, and then I followed an energy on a Dreepy for another 6 because he was taking his, he couldn't find his cloaks. And essentially by not just getting ahead enough in a prize race before these started to evolve up, there was a turn where Cal went Luxcape, triple evolve EX, and then I ended up losing a lot of damage. He lost all his draw, but then I ended up having a far foggier prize map. So he played really well to get out of a really tough position, because I certainly had the strongest start against him. And typically, you snowball in that matchup. I beat 2 other Dragapult decks on the day, I beat another straight Pult, and then I beat a Dragazard, a Mirror, surprisingly. And then my final round was also a straight Pult. We decided to gents at 5-2, knowing that, we could ID, but what's the point? And I've always said this, I've said it on the pod a couple times, and I've been in the position twice already, and I'm no coward. I'll always try and play at my 5-2. And ended up going down to game 3, and we also decided to gents as well. So No natural ties possible, basically, even though it was good enough for day 2. And I prized both Dragapult in game 3, so I knew from my first deck search that I'd lost.
Yeah.
Which is quite sad. Because you can try Zarding, but they have Phantom Dive, and that gets you ahead in game 3, obviously. So I went 5-3, pretty average day, but I really enjoyed every game I played of the deck. I think it is at a high power level, and I do think Watchtower is a worthy inclusion in the deck. So I do think that's one to watch going into NAIC, because it just needs a few tweaks. Admittedly, we don't have the Psyduck promo, which was a big factor, and I do think Draga Dusk, we'll get onto that later, is like one of the key threats going into this tournament coming up. But yeah, I had a fun time. I got to obviously hang out with Emily. She was on the broadcast team the entire time, so once I was out the tournament, I could sneak backstage for a bit, just to hang out with some of the other casters, and I also got to cube a couple times with the casters as well, which is great. I went 2-1 on both nights of the Chaos Cube, losing to Puka both times, which was devastating, especially because on stream I called him out saying I was going to battle him that night. but hey, an attempt was made, and that was my Portland experience.
Yeah, I know we spoke to you a couple of times, and you seemed to really enjoy it. I know that you went on stream with Puka, like you said there, to be interviewed, which was pretty cool to see, obviously. Wish it was a game, because I know that you were on a bit of a hot streak at the time. But yeah, I think it must be a different experience altogether going to US regional, right?
I mean, it's still a big hall. It's just slightly bigger, better vendors for sure. And then it's just like a different group of people, I suppose. I was much more like just happy to hang out and watch the stream, because I didn't just have that constant flow of people to talk to, or that I would like seek out and we would just find a spot to go to. So I was mostly hanging around to watch the stream more. That was really the core difference. But I still spoke to a lot of people having good things, even to say about the pod, which was a real surprise. So there are people out there. They're real.
That is a surprise.
Bots. Yeah. People saying they got into football, soccer because of us. People saying they enjoy the random nonsense even though they don't know what's being said. So it does give me confidence that our intros, even though they're quite unprofessional, they are still fun for some people, which is great. So thanks to everyone who came up to me and said they enjoy the casting, the videos, and the pod as well.
Well, I know that I asked you whether they enjoyed my expertise and witty insights, but you left me on red, unfortunately. So we can go further from there. Great. Okay, well, we can get into Portland very quickly. We do have the day 1 graphic, and then a quick just whip round of the day 2 meta as well. Of course, going into NAIC, which is the event on everybody's watch list at the moment. I think we can just quickly go through the breakdown. So yeah, let's go through it. So day 1, as we all expected, Dragapult, which I mean, I said going into Portland that Raging Bolt actually would have been top in representation, but it came in second.
It was bold. It was always bold.
It was bold.
Yes, above
13%.
Guardian, still a surprise.
Yeah, 13.6%.
I mean, it wouldn't be far off if you split out the Dragapults, right? I think Labs actually has it as top.
As an individual deck, it would be.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm right.
Are you right? Are you right for once?
SME. Am I right?
Bloody.
Gardevoir then coming in third, very close with 13.4%, and then we have Miraidon, Eevee EX Toolbox, or Flareon EX, and Ogerpon Noctowl. Not too many surprises. I think before we got into starting this podcast, we were talking about how, well, it was another friend of ours who said, Ben Pollock, who said, the format feels quite stale, and I think especially for us three being commentators and being in touch with the format a lot more often than some of the other casual player base, I sort of share that sentiment a little bit. There's no sort of newcomers coming on.
I definitely get that kind of sentiment, because we've seen that we've seen through the tournaments that we've had in this format, a bit of a telling story. But there's been that. I think Joe, you had a tweet which actually put it out. That was put out. That was quite, I guess, the best way of actually seeing it. Like, there were loads of things that were quite intricate within each of the decks that had to adapt and sort of change, and we never quite got a defined Dragapult list, for example, that was like the very, very peak of Dragapult. It was always just constantly at the top at a steady rate, changing between maybe the straight Pults and the Pult Duskmars, for example. But Gardevoir was never really like everyone still kept kind of dismissing it. Not dismissing it. Obviously, it won a lot of events, but it was never really like there was no hard counter that suddenly came out and just like stopped Gardevoir winning or doing super well, right?
Yeah.
Which makes it really intriguing. As I think Joe's final tweet was basically like, we'll never find a true answer of what this format really could have been. Maybe because of the type of tournaments that we had for it, or the type of time that we had available, because everyone's thinking about the next. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting way of kind of thinking about it. So pleasantly, one of the few good tweets by Joe without having to grief anything or anyone.
Yeah, I think for me it's as commentators, of course, we're usually talking about what deck's going to come out on top, and what deck's gonna at least be a little bit of a fringe pick and come out on top, and whatever. But I think the excitement for me really comes out of the various specific choices in those deck lists. I think we spoke about it a bit in where were we? Utrecht. Where we talk about variants of different deck lists and different choices.
We're not doing this again, are we?
Yeah, we're going to do it again. Variants of variances. So I mean, anyway, Joe, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think there is still enough new stuff like still being adapted. Like Dragazard did pick up a few tournament placements. Terrabox still picked up like the odd placement, and even though it had a really weird life cycle throughout the meta. So even though the top echelon were the same archetypes in name, like Alex said, that they've had enough changes, and the intricacies in gameplay, like the depth of the gameplay in this format is really, really good. So even if it's the same decks, I don't necessarily care, because every game feels intricate, I think. Jolted Box, which is simple.
Bar the Badoo Wars for about 15 turns, and maybe someone's drawn badly.
Yeah, that's more about like what you see off your top 10 cards of Recon Directive versus your opponent. But that's Mirror anyway. Mirrors are always like trash in one way or another.
I certainly think it's a more skill intensive format than most. I think usually you have formats where you're trying to get around certain damage output, I find, whereas now you're getting around more intricate methods of approach. So you have damage counters, you have things like Curse Blast, and then you do have damage output, but it's again the Pokemon that are rarely available to you, like in Gardevoir, and then you have prize mapping as well with Joltik Box. So there are different little spices in every game. But yeah, enough of that. So day two meta breakdown of Portland though. Looking at the share of that, Gardevoir then coming out on top with 16.5%, and then Dragapult coming in very close with only one deck less, which you imagine is the slow Dragapult. I do have very
that would be slow Dragapult.
It's slow Pult, yeah.
16.2%, and then Raging Bolt third. So actually, the one thing I was a bit shocked at is how usually we see Raging Bolt have quite a high deck rep, and then it absolutely plummets usually. It didn't really plummet all that much. I think that's just because of the flexibility it has now, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely had a decent conversion. Obviously, off the back of a regional win already, it seemed to find a place in the meta. I guess heading into Portland, and obviously we'll come into the actual results in the end, but when you have something that can start sniping away or have a particular sort of game plan into matchups which we would typically say is quite bad for it, like Gardevoir historically has been kind of an awful matchup, or at least a negative matchup. When you have a game plan and everything's suddenly slower because no one was playing the TM Evolution builds for a while, heading into this tournament at least, you had that opportunity, you had that chance, and it found a decent spot. It was always still great into Dragapult. It can generally handle Joltik Box quite well as well, and all these other kind of Enzoroark suddenly started picking up play a little bit. So yeah, it was in a pretty good spot, and it found itself again with another decent finish by a European American. I guess he was in America for a little bit, but so fair play. And it just shows some people who we've always kind of said that, it's an easier deck to pick up, so we generally have like newer players or players who maybe are less experienced in the Pokemon trading card game picking up Raging Bolt. But then you still have a very good player or multiple very good players still picking up and actually to good finishes as well. So it was just everyone put so much emphasis on I called it the big two over the weekend quite a lot.
Yeah.
But there's so much going. There's so many other decks with so much going.
There is so much going on, and it's a good sentiment to the deck and how strong it is. And then the other three decks, we have Terrabox, Flareon, and Jolted Box. They have swapped positions a little bit, of course, from the day one meta, but the top six, usually we see a deck falling out of that top six and a new deck coming in, but in this circumstance, they have just they've stayed pretty consistent with the conversion. Which is, I guess, a bit telling to say that the player base has found the best decks in format in such a versatile format. I would say. So yeah, I mean, I watched a little bit of Portland. They did show great variety on stream in terms of matchups, which was always great to see, and some great plays as well by many different players. And then of course we got into the top 14 players. It was in the end, so it was a top 14 cut, with then 6 players falling out on ASIM. The deck list going on that, we have 3 Gardevoir, we have 1 Raging Bolt, 2 Terrabox, we have 3 Flareon, 1 Slow Dragapult, 2 Dragodust Noir, 1 Toedscruel, of course, and then 1 Dragapult Pidgeot. Toedscruel.
Oh yeah. Full stop.
Yes. I mean,
were we ever going to start anywhere else in reality?
It was good to see Christian getting so close as well. I know he has some American connection.
Hang on, you're just done with Toedscruel,
Yeah,
no, do we actually still want to speak about Toedscruel? Okay.
I mean, we probably should explain it to the viewers, because they may be surprised or
let's look at the list,
by the fact they may think you had a stroke when you said the word Toedscruel, but it wasn't an accident.
Or you've just combined Christian and Toedscruel together.
Yeah.
How have you,
Right, Toedscruel. Okay, let's get into it. Yeah, I don't have many thoughts on Toedscruel, to be honest. It's good into Gardevoir, I suppose. I mean, what matchups do you want to see apart from Roaring Moon?
I mean, so it's got some really cool abilities, right? Toedscruel.
It does.
So the baby Toedscruel we've seen in play before. The slime mold colony, something like that.
Yeah.
But it means that your cards in this card pile can't be put into your opponent. Well, cards from your discard pile can't be put into your hand from effects of abilities or trainer cards. So you're stopping things like Night Stretchers, which suddenly had popped off in play because Gardevoir was playing 4, right? You're also getting...
And Slowpoke plays 7 energy. Yeah.
You're also getting things like the Toedscruel EX with an ability that prevents effects of attacks with Pokemon that have energy attached to them. And when you're generally spreading all of your energies to prep the attack on the actual Toedscruel EX through use of Teal Mask Gogapon EX with its Teal Dance, you're dealing a lot of damage. You're causing a lot of chaos with its 2 abilities that you get on board. You still have general maneuverability, so you can keep like targeting particular Pokemon as well. And you've got kind of the draw engine of Mew, Latias, and Pheasantipity. It's fairly straightforward. You just kind of get your Pokemon into play. You're doing a lot of damage with Colony Rush, and then you're still hitting these kind of weird fringe decks, which might have a bit of weakness to you as well.
Yeah, the top coverage is definitely to its benefit rather than its flaw. Having a fire weakness isn't all that relevant at the moment. Yeah, you're hiding behind that ability quite a lot with Toedscruel, I suppose. I've got the matchups here because I was really interested to see how their Dragapult matchups were. Of course, the Toedscruel EX ability is pretty good in denying the damage counters being spread. They lost their Dragodust Noir, they won their slow Dragapults, and then they won I should say Ray then won their Dragapult Zard matchup, which you would definitely expect. I mean, they had a great run. 9-2-2 is definitely not to be sniffed at. They lost to Terrabox in the end, which I don't know if that's is that a terrible matchup? I wouldn't have. I'm
to tell.
not sure. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's hard to tell.
I can't say I have a matchup analysis of that, but
I guess it isn't right.
On the Lake of Rage pod, Ray said they just double bricked basically, but yeah.
Yeah, because you could definitely that the slime mold colony ability must be pretty good against Terrorbox actually, because they only have so many attackers and they have to get them back at some point. So yeah. I
mean, you have early aggression, you have Budgie, Iono, you have ways of making it awkward. 270 is an annoying number to like chain for Terrorbox, so I can see it being
just big enough,
close.
Right?
Yeah.
Golden Goes such a meme, isn't it? That's such a meme matchup. Definitely win. Definitely wins that one. But now thinking about it, there's something about it, I suppose. I don't know.
Well,
Joe?
also, the intrigue of this deck in particular is that Marnie's Grimsnarl is an up-and-comer for the NAIC.
Yes.
And that's just another free win for you. So maybe it's time. Maybe Ray was cooking and the blueprint is there. And
this was
a
just
random toad at the tables.
Was this just testing for Ray?
This was just another day in the office for Ray.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations.
What are its bad matchups?
Well, I think realistically you shouldn't be getting into Raging Bolt, although there's a couple wins.
Yeah, they won both of their Raging Bolt.
They did beat 2, but I have to feel like on paper that can't be good.
No. Miraidon can't be great either. Is it good? Is that a good?
I mean, they're not really able to.
They can't one shot you, but you can't one shot them.
The Colony
Rush. What do you mean? The Pikachus can one shot toads.
Yeah, but I mean, you only do that once per game, surely. Usually.
No.
2 if you generally set. You should probably be setting 2 up.
If it's a matchup where Pikachu can't be bonked, honestly, whenever I play Joltik Box, I don't believe Joltik twice and just. Honestly, I was playing Joltik Box at the airport in Portland for like 8 hours because I got there early, and I was just playing against Zoroark constantly, and I was just going through all my different decks. And when it's a matchup where someone can't deal with Pikachu, I was ending up with like 11 energy board states, just going, I'm going to Jolting Charge again, and just end up with like, okay, now I'll promote Pikachu, smack, remove 3, smack, remove 3, smack, remove 3.
Maybe it isn't.
And don't forget, whilst you're smacking and removing 3, you're still like getting your energy attachment Crispins going.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like there's way to chain them.
Yeah. Plus, there's so many bench dudes, and we know that Joltik's very good at just avoiding when it needs to.
Easier to chain, I guess, with Terrorbox as well. Not easier, but just as easy with Crispin and stuff. So yeah.
I don't know. I have to feel like there's some amount of scam going on, whether people like see Slime Mold Colony and are stressed out by it and like make their prize map weird or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, the deck definitely has a lot of scam potential, I think. And in fairness, it draws a boatload of cards because you have all the good abilities in the game. You have Squawk, Mew, lots of Ogerpon, so you are mowing through that deck, to be fair. So
yeah.
I mean, like, and just looking at the run, I mean, like the first 9 matchups, other than the Bolt, they're all pretty good, right? I mean, the Dust one's kind of the tricky one because you can.
I mean, I feel like Gardevoir should be tough as well. I know the night stretches are a big deal, but
you have to play so weirdly because you're playing like 4 research and like.
But if they just
maybe you get caught on weird research hands that screw you over.
Yeah. You can just hide behind the Gardevoir EX anyway, right?
They can reach. We saw Ray reaching into a Gardevoir. They played Miloslav on stream.
You go with
have a stunning victory in game 3, where they were able to Pheasantipity into boss E-switch ball, I think, to win the game. It was crazy.
Very good.
Anyway, enough.
And then it went all the way down to 2 Gardevoirs. I did predict Gardevoir as well to win this one, so I was quite happy seeing them both in the final.
The best deck was going to win.
Michael definitely had the Dark Souls boss of TCG right now, which is Henry Chow Gardevoir in the final of a regional championships, and came up with the win. It was a very grindy final. But definitely one to watch if you're interested in playing Gardevoir anytime soon. Both very accomplished players, and Henry Chow, of course, as we all know, just on an absolute hot streak this season, and could have come away with his fourth regional win, right?
Is he a hot contender for Spilly of the Year too?
Just early contender, early favourite. Early favourite.
Will Brent have Spilly 1 before Spilly 2?
That is the real question.
That's the big question. That's what everyone's wondering.
Yeah, I was just looking then. Both lists are pretty similar.
He's glossed over it, is he?
I have glossed over it, yeah. Well, it keeps the audience guessing, doesn't it? But yeah. But we'll look at Michael's list first. The 1-1 Rabsco, of course, which we all saw.
Between first, it's the same.
Yeah. The what?
They're the same 60.
First, it's the same 60.
Yes.
Carry on.
That's what I said.
No, don't worry.
What did I say?
We'll look at Michael's list first. It's the same list.
Is it? I thought it was a couple of differences.
They play the same.
I'm telling
60.
you it is.
Okay, if you're telling me it is, then I'll have to trust you.
This also says it.
Okay. So we'll look at Michael's list first. The 1-1 Rabska.
Yes.
Is that canon now? Do we think that's going to be carried forward in Gardevoir, or was this just a regional pick?
So, Spherical Shield is quite unique in what it can do, right? Because it's counters as well as bench damage.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In the new set, we gain a card that can protect us against bench damage, and it's a basic. So if we want to gain a slot, we can. But admittedly, Rabska does help out in other situations, just because it is more versatile of a card.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I would probably like to steal the space personally, because I think your your Dragapult matchup is good enough, and that's the main thing you're trying to stop. You know, the Phantom Dive math. So I think yoink a space and be happy with that.
I think if I'm playing TM Evo, I think I'll go with Rabska. But I think Rabska's...
Don't you want a space, though? Oh, space could be
just
anything.
one.
Yeah, but he can get more space if he doesn't play Technical Machine Evolution, and then he can just jam in the one.
Yeah, if I'm playing TM Evolution, I'm playing the Rabska. And plus the Rabska's good against Phasantipity, right? Yeah. Go on.
I was going to say the real question of this aspect is, rather than just talking about Rabska, was that TM Evolution, right? Because we've seen obviously Brent's list be very heavy on the just kind of, we're just going to try and find a way to draw through things and manually evolve up or use 2 rare candies to get there. This one's taking, I guess, what William Azevedo played when he won his regional, and then adapt with that, right? So a couple of Arbins came back in, still kept Brent's 4/4 Iono Professor's Research, and just say, well, I'm going to either, if I hit Arvin and I'm not Iron Locked, great, I can Secret Box and Technical Machine Evolution or yada yada, or if I am Iron Locked, I can just draw into it because I'm going to hit one of my 3 anyway. Pretty cool. Some I guess there's some fewer counts. I mean, they had to sacrifice a Night Stretcher, chuck a Super Rod back in. I think a Bravery Charm was
only
a lower
2
count as
monkeys.
well.
Yeah. Can really hurt you when it's prized. Yeah.
But at the same
except
time,
for all the attackers. But yeah.
Yeah. But I was going to say at the same time, it works perfectly when everyone's expecting to play against Brent's list. Everyone's testing against Brent's list at that point, right? You just look through the list, the number of placement Brent's list of Gardevoir had for the last 3-4 weeks or whatever it is, and you're going, I don't need to play against anything else other than this. And then all of a sudden, this little green Relor comes down and instantly evolves up to a Rabska, and your game plan's dead.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it perfect inclusion for the weekend, as you can see by the 2 who finished first and second. Were there any others who played it? That's not something I really checked, actually.
I think only after the event.
Okay.
Oh no, there was a couple others in Portland.
Just other
2 other day 2s in Portland. Yeah, it must be buddies.
Just in Gardevoir?
Huh?
Was it
we're
just
talking about the 60, the Gardevoir 60.
Oh, right, sorry. Yeah, I think my Rabska.
Yeah, and then everything else was in Bologna. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And then talking of Bologna. Oh, no, sorry, go on, Joe. Oh yeah.
Crack on.
No, yeah. Talking about Bologna, which was the week after and the week before last.
Hello?
Let's go into
The week after Portland.
The week after Portland and the week before today. Yes.
Brilliant.
Sorry, my brain. My poor brain.
You've been watching too much.
Someone's going through a regression at this moment
Right.
in time, I think, ladies and gentlemen.
Now,
it's not Nelly.
Actually, no. Let's look at let's go through some experiences you both, because you both commentated this event, which was
We did.
It's not usual that two of us or all three of us are on one panel, I suppose.
No, they haven't had us since.
And then Joe, never again. I said when me and Joe were commentating at Utrecht, I said they'll never let us do this again. This will be a laugh. Now, Joe, of course, you played in Portland, so going into this event, was there anything that you were specifically expecting or was anticipating going into this meta?
Honestly, no. I didn't expect much change. Like maybe some Guardy heads switched to Henry's list and Michael's list, I guess. But I felt it would be more of the same. Also, it's the very end of Journey Together. It's the final special championship as well. So it's like last chance saloon for some, but also a whole host of local Italian players that don't play the whole season and just chose to come to this tournament. So it felt like there was a big chunk of players you would normally expect at majors not in attendance because they already feel like they're safe for the invite. So it was a strange mash of like those around the 150 range panicking, and then a bunch of local players. So it was a strange tournament overall. Still over 1,000, like over 1,200 players for an end of season tournament is pretty awesome, to be honest with you. Yeah. It does show how popular it is out in Italy. But I didn't expect the meta to be too wild.
1,239.
And 944 of them were Italian.
Right, there you go.
Yeah,
which is nuts.
There was a big Italian population in this tournament, which there always was going to be, but quite monumental as you put it, 900 odd. So
for a no cash tournament, that's pretty nuts.
Dan, what about yourself?
I mean, I kind of said it on the broadcast as well. It's really hard to find a balance of thinking about whether a player, as Joe said, who's turning up at the kind of 150 or maybe even a bit lower, or even in that, or maybe going for stipend, they have to play something consistent. So they're going to bring something they'll continue to play. You know, a good example is Julius Brunfeld, who's just played Gardevoir at the last 4 or 5 events or whatever it is. So you just continue that because you know it's a very good deck. And this is what most people do, and we will also touch on the person who won, who's played the deck a couple of times now as well. Or, as Joe kind of mentioned, you do get people maybe just picking up a deck for the first time, because at the end of the day, it is a special championship. Especially if you're Italian, it probably didn't cost you much money to get there. It's a free event, which is still crazy for these kind of numbers, and I don't know what in the end what might have been the sort of no-show rate, but you know, still over 1,200 players. So it's kind of a unique scenario, I think. I think more often than not, at this current stage, with the type of invite structure that we have now, people will just continue playing what they've had been playing for like the last few weeks, as it were. There wouldn't be any real crazy surprises. It'll be just down to the odd Italian contingent player who'd be like, hey, it's my one event, I'm just going to have a laugh. Could be good into some matchups, and I guess there were a few things that were at least somewhat interesting.
I remember going into
more of the same.
I remember going into day one of Utrecht, the no-show rate was really, really low, which was great to see. So it may have been the same for Bologna. Considering how many people were there in attendance, I would have thought it probably the same, quite low. And then we get into the day one meta. Dragapult, of course, top, sharing the same percentages as Portland, actually, 18%. Then Gardevoir, Monkidori, 16%. Then Raging Bot, 13%. Then we have Miraidon, Golden Go, Dragapult, and EVEX Toolbox. Now, I think the only significant thing here is that after Miraidon, which is 10%. It halves for the next deck, which is Golden Go Dragapult, and then with 5%, of course, and then EV Toolbox with 4%. So out of those 1,239 players, there's going to be a whole array of things being played there, and a whole lot of shenanigans. So, Alex, you spoke about there, people bring in the favourite pet decks like Julius did with Gardevoir, and there'll still be people who are doing the same. But was it as a meme show as this is showing? It was?
Oh yeah. I was seeing all sorts at some of those early round like top tables. I did a double take when I saw my first Sizzlypede on the top table.
I didn't really know what that does.
No. So I'll have you know there's a stage 1 Centiscorch that deals 130 for 1 fire and puts 30 on each of your benched Pokemon. And of course that was being played in Blissey Monkey Dory. So it's like trying to recreate Copperaja EX in the aggregate.
A 1/1 Centiscorch line.
Correct.
Well,
correct.
Which I've just looked at one. There was a 2/2 line.
A 2/2. There you go.
Well,
2/2. I do think I think Danklin's made a video on it. So if you want to check that out, do go for it. But yeah, I saw like Dengo with Pidgeot and it wasn't yellow. I saw Archaludon with like doubled dunce.
I put on the radar. I put on the radar the Burn Badoo deck.
Burn
pretty
Badoo.
early.
Burn,
Dodrio.
your favourite.
Badoo Burn. Did you not
What
watch
does
it?
Dodrio do?
Oh, Dugtrio.
Dodrio is
Dodrio.
the damage for 1 and draw 1.
Oh, Dodrio. Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
With was it played with Steelix again?
No, it was played in Archaludon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you said
Just as a
yeah.
different engine that can also attack, I suppose.
Very
So yeah,
good.
there was all sorts. They obviously fell away. Yeah, I hate to see
Did
that.
they?
But,
Yeah, honestly, looking at if we look at the day 2 meta in a moment, and we can look through it on labs as well. I don't think there's any ridiculous deck
no,
like
they were found out.
who made it through, or
Oh,
Feraligatr.
joking.
Oh no, wait, hang on, sorry, I take that back. Feraligatr did make it through.
Genius.
And then best of the rest day 1, Ogerpon Noctowl, one of the more sensible choices on this graphic. 4%. Dragazard's 4%, and then unclassified with 3, Ends Toolbox, Goldingo, and Archaludon. Yeah, no surprises there really from a best of the rest. Snapshots, I suppose, and then of course going into the day 2 meta, with a very, pretty much sharing the same sentiment as day 1, except with a Dragapult Zard coming in at last. But we have Dragapult, then Gardevoir, Raging Bolt, Miraidon, Eevee Toolbox, and Dragapult Zard, as I just mentioned. But which one?
It really was.
It was Dango. It was Dango.
Had
It was
really good
Dango.
meta share.
Yeah, it was Dango Dragapult that dropped off. That's what I was trying to remind myself of.
Yeah. 2 stage 2s basically had really good meta share. The rest had middling or terrible day 1 to 2 conversion.
Yeah, fair enough. And then best of the rest day 2, Ogerpon Noctowl, Goldengo, Dragapult, which is a huge drop off from its day 1. Frostlass Monkey Dory, Ends Toolbox, and Archaludon. Going into day 2, were there any specific, shocks for you? Was there any sort of decks that you thought would actually keep up with its day 2 and then just completely fell off, or the opposite?
Hydreigon was up there for a while. Neddy was like in the mix for a bit.
He's lost his winning in.
Yeah, lost his winning in. There was admittedly obviously a lot of Gardevoir and Dragapult towards the top tables. But yeah, Simon was somewhat of a surprise. Terrabox was XO after day 1 Fabrizio. And we saw him play pretty well on the stream as well in day 1.
Yeah.
Wait for it, Alex.
I was
You
like,
see-
hang on.
And you
In
did say
day 1, I said.
Yeah.
And
it's fair.
So
you did say there were no memes coming into day 2, but there was a Mamoswine that made day 2.
I mean,
Mamoswine,
there's obviously
Hydreigon.
the odd few that creep in. Like I said, there was apparently there's a Feraligatr somewhere.
The rest of them,
There is
yeah,
128, so
top one's right.
yeah, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, everything else is pretty pretty normal, isn't it?
Yeah, but like the viewers, we didn't see any of this Toad Scroll anywhere. You know, they all fell off.
No Toad Scroll. They all fell off. What was their conversion rate? It was a 0.
I think so. Well, I don't remember them being any in day 2.
There was quite a lot played, wasn't there? There was a Venomoth, Frostlass, Tyranitar, Slacking.
Yeah,
there was a Bellybolt, Raging Bolt.
Joe's favourite, Palafin.
Hydrapple, Ogerpon, Great Tuskmill, Flygon. Yeah. Tinkerton. Yeah, it was all being played, wasn't it? What a great event. And then it all concluded with a straight top 8 cut.
Yes, indeed.
Which was always good to see. 3 Gardevoir, 1 straight Dragapult, 1 Dragapult Dusknoir, 1 Joltik Box, 1 Terrabox, and 1 Roaring Moon.
Could have been quite a big if one of those like top 4 table, top 3, top 5 tables tied.
They all naturally concluded with victories, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So actually,
because I was writing out 14, I think, or 15. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and Ross
I wrote down 15 and then I threw the card away. I was like, great.
We were trying to work it out, but we did quickly see that it would get to 20. Potentially could get to 29. There would be an 8, but we can't confirm until we have the information.
The Hydreigon actually lost this last match, so it could have made.
What I literally said about.
Right. You don't listen to.
Is that what you just said? Is that what you said? I thought you said he was just doing. I just thought you said he was doing well.
Sick of it.
Okay. But then going into top 8, seeing that Roaring Moon was obviously in the mix, did you guys think it would take it all the way?
Well, it didn't have a Guardy in its top 8, I don't think. It had to go through one of the Dragapult, which is like the closer matchup of the bunch. So it didn't like stand out. Like we knew when there's only 8 decks left and there's a couple or 3 Guardies in there, you're like, oh, if he can get through his top 8, then sure. But I don't think he was necessarily like touted to win the whole thing straight away.
I think he had a good chance. I think when speaking to Simon, when I had the chance to interview him, he was like, I can work a matchup into Dragapult. It's okay.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm not saying it's terrible, but I'm saying
what he couldn't handle.
We assume Gardevoir's better, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, so
yeah.
It's a little bit more.
So Simon's run into the final was Dragapult, Gardevoir, then obviously Gardevoir in the final. So did play all of the top dogs.
Once he got past the top 8, we were like, this is great for him. Yeah.
This is fine. Did you want to go into Simon's list, or were there any sort of list that you wanted to go through?
Certainly look at Simon's list.
Let's look at it.
Just to remind anyone listening, that's 1 Roaring Moon EX.
Yeah, it was Roaring Moon.
Won the event.
Yeah.
3 Gardevoirs, 1 Terrabox.
No.
1 Slowpoke, 1 Polt Dusknoir, and then Joltik Miraidon was the other deck.
Yeah. Did I not go through it? I swear I did.
Rab did do that. Alex, you've just done a Rab there.
Oh, brilliant! See, there's he
top 8?
He bamboo me after his
Joe, can you go through?
He was so angry about Neddy.
Joe, can you go through top 8?
But yeah,
just one more time.
The Roaring Moon list is very similar to like the ladder climber list that we know from online. It notably doesn't have Baby Moon. It just has 2 Big Moon, and you're happy to E-switch off your bonnet is the idea. So Simon did fit some space in and play the 3 flip catchers, which you normally don't see in like the online builds. It cares so much about just getting donk. So having the catchers in, and we saw some great highlight reel moments of the catchers specifically throughout the Top Cut matches. There was a real like heart in mouth game where there was the first catcher heads, and then it came down to the final. Then Simon had to take a 2-prize KO. Otherwise, Gardevoir basically wins on board. I think they would need like 1 or 2 cards to close. But then it was.
I'm pretty sure Simon. He pretty much had to play all. He played all 3 catchers. First 2 were tails, and then the final one went off screen.
He researched his secret box, then found the last catcher, which was like his last 3 cards or whatever. And it went off screen, but he did then slap a Mew EX and said, "Come in."
I'll have that one.
Which
I
was
think
pretty epic.
When I first saw this list, it was quite reminiscent of the original Roaring Moon. With the Pokemon catchers, with the Pokemon catchers, and just going super aggressive and just trying to get that first big knockout. E-switch,
normally you
catcher,
see,
all that's kind of good
sometimes stuff. You see more EX as well, just so that you have them prepped. But just the very thick E-switch is like the way that he can just put Moon down when he needs to, and does really lean into the patches quite a lot.
Yeah, one thing I didn't quite appreciate, because obviously we saw a lot of Twitter or X posts around, just grinding through the ladder and getting through with the Petron, etc. But actually, more often than not, he was prepping Poison Chain as an attack, which I wouldn't see too often. But also was fine, actually, or quite happy to get the Poison ticker on a bigger Mon, and knowing that going back is actually perfectly fine. It's just it's more than enough pressure, because reality, how many people are playing like a Switch, or can even find a Switch, or can afford to play a Switch that early, or any of those sort of types of items, especially against Gardevoir or even like Dragapult. You can, if they've got a Monkey Dory in the active, they have to attach something to it to get it out, and then they've lost an NG attachment, right?
Or they want to Evo as well now, like even more than ever.
And it just puts them on like such a crazy clock, just by doing that regardless. And
he did some really cool second benching of Pecharunt, so that when it was dealt with, he could still have the Poison tick as well. He was definitely really good with the deck for sure. So,
and it showed, right? He played it to a 9th place in Utrecht.
Yeah.
Slightly different list, if I'm not mistaken, but the concept was there, right? And then to go from 9th, who wasn't a bubble, it was just a clean cut in Utrecht.
Clean cut.
But to go into another final and eventually take it down.
Unbeaten as well.
To show you.
12-03.
Yeah, nuts.
Yeah. Good record, good deck, good player. Yeah, very good. So Roaring Moon taking it all in our last...
And you were right all along, Ben.
Last big event.
Roaring Moon.
I've always liked it. And getting his invite to the World Championships, of course. But then moving on, of course, the event on everybody's lips, as I mentioned earlier, is NAIC, which is next week, right? Unless time is moving at a different rate to me. It is next week. And, of course...
it's the 13th. It's the 13th.
It's a week and a bit.
Yeah, next week. Yeah.
When they're listening to this, it'll be next week.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And both of you were in attendance. Of course, Alex, you'll be commentating this event. No pressure.
Yep.
Biggest event.
I'm allowed into the country, which is step one.
That's always an advantage.
Very good.
That's always step one.
Hopefully they don't take me into a room and send me back.
Right this way.
Do you listen to the podcast?
Please don't.
Yeah.
Can I just take a moment to say how much I love Donald J. Trump? Carry on.
Did you guys know one time when I went to a Lorcana event, I didn't take any ID with me, so I had to Google my name and show them.
God, I forgot about that.
Yeah, actually, I forgot that happened.
He used so when the Play Pokemon tweet goes out for the casters and the pictures of the faces, he thought that was the best way to convince someone it was him.
Rather than a picture of your ID.
So I didn't have any ID.
We're talking but then not even that. Like not only Facebook, LinkedIn, like any.
Googled my
why
name.
is that the first thing you thought about?
I googled my name and
do
said,
you know who I am?
Oh my god!
I'm so funny. And the most embarrassing part about me is the people behind me were like, "What on earth is he talking about?" You know?
Yeah,
it's quite funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dow, of course, this is the biggest event of the year apart from the World Championships, I'd say. How are you feeling?
More players.
How are you feeling?
The biggest.
Not good. Look, it's a real privilege to obviously be going. I would have been trying to play myself and going to New Orleans again because I had such a good time last year. I'm going to be full of beignets, maybe made of beignets by the end of it, as per last year as well. But no, really looking forward to it. Getting to see like literally the best of the best compete in the biggest, arguably the biggest tournament of the season. But based on just pure and sheer numbers alone, right? 4,000 players or whatever it is that's registered, and then across all the games, it's going to be pretty crazy. And again, it's an international, so it's always quite a special thing to be part of. I think. I mean, Joe done it last year, so I get to carry the flag again from us EU as a representative.
Yep,
that'd be fun.
Shay heading over.
Yeah, boy.
I got the commentators here: Chip Ritchie, Kyle, Sybil House, Shay, Alex, Shelby, Boo, Carl Sukovic, Puka, and Adam Skarzik Watson. So stacked team
for me.
Stacked team.
That's incredible for me. So I'm just happy to be part of that. I'm gonna be there fanboying over every single one of them. Let's go.
Yeah, so it's always good to see Puka on the list as well. Such a pillar when it comes to.
It's been many years since he's done an IC. Many years.
Many years since he's done a back-to-back event.
That's also true. Yeah.
And Joe, this time you're playing. You're playing this event.
Tables.
So you get the advantage of walking about on the Thursday and chilling out and being a part of the atmosphere. So you must be pretty excited.
Yes, very excited. So last year I didn't do much of the socializing. I was a good boy. After my commentary days, I was saving my sleep and my voice, so I was tucking myself away. Now I'm going to be out and about and in it.
Yeah.
In the thick of it.
Just bring me some twinkle.
Getting really horrible, actually. It's going to be really horrible. I'm going to be smelly. I'm going to have a few drinks. It's going to be...
Joe's going to get burnt. It's going to be...
I'll be burnt to a crisp. Yeah, that's all going to happen. So, that's going to be really good. The only thing is I'm mildly stressing about deck choice because I've been travelling and focused on Journey Together format. So I'm a bit all over the place.
I was about to say something.
You guys have seen a list today.
I was about to say something really mean. I was about to say I would be stressing too with that list you've got.
Thank you. So that's the level I'm at. I can't tell the viewers at home because I might genuinely play it.
Joe's got his lackeys playing it for him right now.
So I think we're a couple of days off Joe being in that frame of mind where he's like, maybe this'll work and just send anything. Maybe maybe I need to spend 50 games on this on live before I.
Usually Joe is like locked in pretty early.
No,
this is probably.
I don't think you are.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
No.
Dragazard, he was all over it like 2 weeks before Portland, it felt like.
Yeah. I've
really?
I've very much made a point of trying to be locked in. Like for EYC this year, I was very much on Arch and had like hundreds of games locked with it. This is not one of those situations, so I just have to accept that I need to find my advantages elsewhere.
Who's the earliest in locking on
in the genius deck building?
I don't know.
Blow everyone away.
I don't know who the earliest in locking a list is, but I know you're the latest usually.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Dow's putting his armband round his wrist at 8:30. He's still refreshing his phone to see what he's put in.
He's usually nudging you at 1 a.m. asking you how to play it.
Well, literally the last time he played, I went to bed thinking he was playing one deck, and I woke up and he was playing another, and that was that one. So
very funny.
We make decisions and it's fine.
We got.
At least
backstage.
I submit deck list, Ben.
All right,
True.
fine.
And he day 2'd, so trust the process.
Fine, whatever.
Why change a winning formula?
Why change it when it works? Actually, no. Before we get into the tier list, I know Joe, of course, going on to the fact that you're playing. You've been testing a lot of the newer format. We've had access to it on live for a couple of days now. Unfortunately, you won't get much information out of me unless it's testing Misty's Gyarados or Team Rocket's Porygon
Go on,
Z.
tell us
Really?
your Misty's Gyarados adventures.
So I've hit the maximum number twice. Which is always great.
So that's where we're going with this. Out of how many games did it take?
A few. And then Porygon Z, I've been so underwhelmed. It's really underperformed.
That's a shame.
Unfortunately. And then switched it off because I just can't. Can't do it.
This format is terrible. Switch it off.
I think, Joe, the deck that everybody's in. Actually, no. Thinking about it, let's look at a bigger picture. Because we were speaking about before this podcast about how all of the cards that have been introduced from Journey Together and this set have been underwhelming. Well, we don't know how underwhelming the cards are from this next set are going to be, but in terms of actual archetypes being introduced, it's been underwhelming. And Zoroark has not been performing well.
Oh, right, before Destined. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, before Destined, yeah. But
Okay.
do we think... I think the deck that people would expect to achieve the most is going to be Marnie's Grimmsnarl. Do we think that deck is going to be good enough to be there amongst the top?
Yeah, I think it's undoubtedly going to be in that top 6 most played graphic. And I think it has an easy selling point in that it challenges Dragapult and Gardevoir, which have been the 2 previously most popular and successful decks. And with the help of Monkey, Frostlass, and Budew, it can fight its way through some of the other matchups as well. So it's very real. The blueprint's been there from Japan. So if you just take the Champions League list, you can change maybe like 3 or 4 Wiggle Room cards, I think, in there. If you want to add some consistency, because it's engineless. Or if you just want to do other things, like other tech card inclusions with it, you can, for more surprise factor. But I think this is 100% a real deck. And I honestly think it could be among the top 3 of popularity. That's quite bold.
Okay.
But online, it's the most popular. Obviously, it's new toy syndrome, and people want to change. But the logic is simple in that Guardian Dragapult are the other safe picks, and we know that good players play the safe picks that they can, like, they already have the blueprint of a great list, so they can have confidence they're playing one of the better decks in format. And Grimmsnarl doesn't like clown on them, but like is pretty good into both of them, I would say. So it's an easy selling point, and I think it will be popular and strong. Just
for the people who don't know or are unaware of what Marnie's Grimmsnarl EX does, it's of course stage 2. The ability Punk Up: when you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during this turn, you may search your deck for up to 5 basic Dark Energy and attach them to your Marnie's Pokemon in any way you like. And then the attack for 2 Dark Shadow Bullet does 180 to the active, and then this attack does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Of course, very good with Frostlass already with the damage spread, and then playing Dark Energy, naturally you're going to be putting in your Monkey Dories. So it's another unique way of approaching the game, isn't it? It's not heavy on damage counters like Dragapult is, but it's not heavy on damage like Raging Bolt is. It's kind of like that little bit of an in-between, I suppose.
It's taken the concept of Frostlass Monkey Dory, which already is a very powerful archetype.
Yes.
A very annoyingly powerful archetype, right? But rather than sitting behind a Brave Budew and just item leaking your opponent and then getting small ticks over, you now actually have an self-efficient attacker that's big, that helps spread damage across the board, and then when you want, you still have access to things like TM Devolution, or you're just still hitting things for 2-hit KOs anyway. That's such a big selling point of it, because it's self-sufficient. You don't actually have to worry about it getting set up at the same time, because you do have, like, is it a stadium that helps you search for a Marnie's Pokemon?
Spikemuth Gym, yeah.
And then you can just take your time, right? You can still Budew your first turn if you want to, whilst you're evolving up.
You can Budew a lot of... I Budew still, like, 4 turns, unless there's an easy bullet just to, like, wipe the board away. I think the deck is still very much Frostlass Monkey, and, like, the Impudimps can be, and Morgrams, they can even be a distraction for an opponent to not boss Frostlass or to not boss Monkey. And then when you're in the sort of, I have 3 monkeys down with an energy on each of them, people are just weeping at that point. They are weeping.
One of the biggest weaknesses of Frostlass Monkey Dory was the bench hitting. And of course you do have Shame in there with the Flower Curtain ability coming into play as well. But yeah, I think more to the sentiment that you said, Alex, being self-sufficient. We've seen how successful Zard has been. Charizard EX has been being that kind of self-efficient, energy-accelerating Pokemon. The engine was built into the card itself, and that's very very similar to this Grimmsnarl. I think the worry for me with Grimmsnarl is going to be the weakness. Now, grass is very peculiar, I'd say. There's no out-and-out grass deck in the format. We know Toadstool, of course, whatever. But Teal Mask Ogerpon, it is sprinkled into decks here or there. It's in Raging Bolt. It's in the
Terrorbox.
Ogerpon list. Terrorbox, yeah, sorry. They're not
Leafeon
like
EX in Flareon as well.
Leafeon EX, yeah. They're not easy to get accelerated, of course, in those decks. They don't play, so many things like E-Switch. They're not heavy on those sorts of out and out.
You can
resources.
dance
but
crisp and attack.
but they are there. They are there though. There are ways around it, and I think that's the biggest worry for me. I think with Grimmsnarl, but it's shown that it does have ways to get around it with Frostlass and the Munkidori and Bidoof and Maractus and all that kind of stuff. I think that's the only thing for me. That's the only thing for me.
The one-shots are only a problem if you don't have Frostlass online, because then you're not getting any monkey flinging, and you need the monkey flinging because 180 is poor into the big basic stuff. So that is definitely a flaw of the deck. Yeah.
Very good. And then going into an AIC, then, do we expect anything else from Destined Rivals? Maybe Team Rockets. Now, this was a deck I think that everybody thought going into it. Oh, this is the new deck. This is the Team Rockets Mewtwo is the new thing. But I think it's a bit underwhelming. I think from the Japanese rods specifically.
It's the poster boy poster cards of the set, right? So it's naturally going to get some traction. It does have some things going for it, just naturally because of the type of synergies you get with the different cards. It is just a bit underwhelming, I think. When it was originally sort of announced from Japan, I know there was a lot of contentious conversations and discussions on the Mewtwo itself on X. So it's had a couple of decent results, but it's probably had more poor ones than good ones, right? That's the only issue. You might find yourself in the right meta, not necessarily the right meta, sorry, with the right matchups, with the right variants, and you can do okay. You could do probably pretty well because of everything that you got going for it.
The height of its population was when, the height of its popularity, was when, of course, Tord took it to Japan for a championships. And then, of course, if you see Tord taking a deck into a large tournament like that and having the confidence to take it, then, of course, it must have something about it. But I think it's been quite underwhelming for at least me. And having that weakness now, of course, with the popularity of Marley's Grimmsnarl isn't great either, being dark weak.
That's great for you. You have Spidops, bro.
You do have Spidops. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. We should.
That's your best selling point, is that you're good into Grimmsnarl.
Spidops.
You're good into
Rocket Rush.
Yeah.
30
Honestly, it's a Spidops deck. Like Mewtwo features in a Spidops deck.
Is it Rocket Spidops with Mewtwo?
Yes.
Certainly a big...
The most successful lists of Mewtwo play no E-Switch, and they just play like 2 Mewtwo's.
Okay.
So they just put Mewtwo down when they think it's safe, and they can Bravery Charm it. But it's really is a Spidops deck. And so from my angle, there's the weak underbelly of sometimes you get judged or Iono'd and don't have a receiver, and then you're just in the bin. But I do think Spidops is very efficient and strong. The type coverage is relevant and becoming more relevant. You're happy to see Dragazard becoming a combo in the format. You're happy to see Marnie's Grimmsnarl come out. And the Articuno is still really good as well. So, especially because I think in Japan, there is way more Dragadusk than in the West, where there's a lot of straight Dragapult. And when there's no Dusknoir, Articuno is like really, really good, I think. So, and you can still Bravery Charm it as well. So I actually think it's pretty solid into Pult and Grimmsnarl. It's just the other stuff is really sus, I think.
My expectation, though, is going into an AIC is that Dusknoir finds the rebalance back up to be
we'll get there with the tier list, and I agree with you. But I'm just trying to make the argument for the Rocket.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like I said, it's got things going for it if it has the right matchups.
I've actually been pleasantly surprised by it, because like when I was testing it a couple of weeks ago, I was like, I just don't see this at all. And when I saw Lucky Helmets in Tord's list and he had like a mediocre results, I was like, oh, that's pointless. And obviously, like, you only see a tiny snapshot of Champions League when you don't see a Rocket deck in there at all.
Yeah.
And you don't see the City League results where it was like chilling out in like C or D tier among some real piles. I was like, this is atrocious. But for its online data, it's like its win rate is not as bad as I thought it was going to be, and it's had some top 8 placements and like better than that. So I've actually been pleasantly surprised. Like I'm kind of like up on it from being like this was garbage.
It's not a terrible win rate, but it's not great either. It's
not good. But I'm saying like
44%. Oh, that's unlimited.
44. I see 48.
Oh, do you? Rockets Mewtwo.
Rockets Mewtwo is 48% win rate.
Yeah, I see 48.
Where are you?
Oh, oh yeah,
it is. Combined variants.
Yeah. Sorry, it is 48. Yeah.
Anyway,
no, that doesn't change.
I mean, anyway, it's mid, sure, but like I thought it was going to be unplayable, and it's really not unplayable.
Maybe I was a bit naive.
I guess
I was a bit naive in thinking it had a bad Grimmsnarl. I didn't think that you could just keep streaming the Spide Ups over and over and over again with the threat of
Grimmsnarl's one of its best matchups. That's
with
one of its
the
best
threat
matchups.
of Frostlass, Monkey Dory, and the Grimmsnarl. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's just atrocious. Like Raging Bolt's going to hold it back. Garly's going to hold it back, and Dragapult's like close. So. It has to be propped up by a wave of Grimmsnarl. And I don't think we're there yet for NAIC.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would consider is like how good were its like more recent better finishes on the online meta compared to when it first. Well, like I think it's got some poor ones, right? Is it dragged down by worse lists and like better lists have sort of started to come out? I don't know. Is what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, tough one to say. Like, it's had a decent amount of play rate, probably inflated play rate because it's the new toy, right? But
and is that just people picking up whatever they may have found from city leagues and so on?
Yeah, I think generally the list that got second in the Tournament of Doom, I've seen this before from Pokeka book, so it's definitely this is the like Japanese blueprint from city leagues.
Okay.
Because I still don't know the true purpose of the Team Rocket Zapdos. I know it's in there, I know it's frustrating, and like I read the attacks and I can see how it could be useful, but I'm also just a bit like underwhelmed by it / don't love it.
See.
I've seen some great legendary bird lists. Just the Moltres Zapdos Articuno. It's a great joke. Right, and then on to everybody's favourite part of the pod, which is I'm sure it is anyway. I don't know where I was going with that. It's the tier list. Now, we do have a tier list for NAIC specifically. We do have the meta breakdown for currents with destined rivals. So let's go through it. We're an hour and 7 minutes in, so we can go through a quick fire round. Unless you guys had any specific thoughts. Do we want to go with some easier ones first? Do we want to go through Gardevoir and slow Dragapults? Where do we see Gardevoir? Do we still... Go on.
You tell us.
I was going to say, let's go through the popularity on Play Lim. So start with Grimmsnarl.
Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Grimmsnarl. I mean, I see it as high B, low A. But I'm happy to be wrong.
I would put it in
I'd
A
put it high.
for sure.
Yeah.
Really?
High A.
High A. I mean, we'll put it middle A. We'll put it middle A.
It is a very good deck.
It's the only deck in A at the moment.
Yeah.
Why
I don't know.
Why are you hesitating?
I don't know. I just don't think
let's continue first. We can
continue first. Right. Okay. Next was what? Sorry, Joe.
Gardevoir's next.
Gardevoir's next. I mean, I see it still as S tier. Gardevoir.
I think it's beside Grimmsnarl in A.
I think it's below Grimmsnarl in A.
Below.
Yeah.
Oh my.
I think it's like 50-50.
You see Grimmsnarl better than Gardevoir?
For this tournament, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Fine. Next I'm guessing is Dragapult.
No, it's Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt.
Raging Bolt. I mean, this
is the separated variants. That's why.
Okay.
So Raging Bolt.
Again, I see this as low A, high B.
B.
I would put this in B. Yeah.
Okay, fine. I mean, I was only thinking of A just because it's the best. It's the best, like high hitter deck. It's the best aggressive.
Is it the best for this tournament?
And also, it's only got weaker from the set coming out because
it has only got weaker. Yeah. It's got
Shaman and it's got Watchtower to contend with, and the lists won't change. I don't think.
You're right. It's much easier to counter now with Flower Curtain being around. Yeah, I agree with that. Next.
Ethan's Typhlosion.
Oh, this is dud, right? C, D.
D.
I'm happy to put it D.
I was gonna say C just to be fair to it, but yeah.
No, it's rubbish.
So its best results so far has been Azul's done a list with Pidgeot EX, and that's been vaguely interesting. There's also this
vaguely interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. How else do you want me to explain it?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I'll certainly bring it to Cups, but it's fine.
Bring that bad boy to Cups. Unfortunately, we're in just for any evolving deck, just as the blanket statement with Guardy, Dragapult, and now Grimmsnarl. There is so much putting me off a stage 2 deck with Little Men, and this is all a Little Men deck. Right?
Little Men.
Next.
Dragazard is the most popular build online.
It's
Where are we
B
seeing
for
this?
me.
Yeah, I'd say B.
I would also put this in B.
Has a lot going for it, I think, and with the same reasons Joe's kind of had previous. I still personally rate Zard as a fantastic card.
Yeah,
and that's why I think it's got a lot of carrying it for it to be in B.
The only reason I won't put it in A is that I think it's unfavored into what we're going to rate as a higher Dragapult build. I think.
Correct.
Yeah. Cool.
Next.
Straight Dragapult is next.
B.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would put this bottom of B probably. I think this is getting worse.
We just don't have the time anymore.
I think you need more options now than just Dragapult.
Yeah,
and hiding behind Bidoof.
Even the Dust Noirs are now playing Luminous Monkey themselves, so you don't have that mirror edge that you would into the Dust Noirs. I don't think. Outside of maybe Genesect stopping a stamp. So I think it's in a precarious spot.
Yeah.
Next up we have Rocket's Mewtwo.
Ooh.
High C.
I'd
say C. Yeah, C.
If we put Ethan's in D, Rocket's going in C.
I'm still interested in this. I'm still interested in this flavor. This Gardevoir Grimmsnarl business. One ahead of the other.
What do you mean?
Are we saying Gardevoir's only low A in this tournament because of the popularity of Grimmsnarl? I don't think Grimmsnarl's.
I think Grimmsnarl will be around 10% of the format.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
Fine.
So I think to win the event, it's harder for Gardevoir than it has been.
Okay. Fine. Yeah. Okay. Fine. I feel a lot more comfortable now. Next.
just one sentence.
Well, no. I just needed to
honestly,
know.
Rab, I honestly appreciate the cynicism because are we once again going to underestimate Gardevoir is what we've just done throughout the last 3 months of Journey Together. So I'm glad that you're pushing back against Gardy because it is busted.
Joltik Box, low B.
C.
So you think C?
High
D,
C.
did he say?
No, not D. It doesn't go that far down. I think this goes above Rocket's Mewtwo for me in C.
Okay.
See, what's interesting about Joltik Box is if you're afraid of Watchtower, this might be the go-to aggro deck. That's the only thing I would say. Instead of Raging Bot, right? Because you're afraid of Watchtower. So I would probably put this behind Raging Bolt in B. Also, you get to play Leaves, which is very good into Grimmsnarl.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Leaves.
I
was literally thinking about it earlier when you were talking about Teal Mask Ogre EX and decks that accelerate energy onto it, but not be able to get an attack off. But then you just Leaves and smash.
Does Galvantula one shot Grimmsnarl?
Galvantula.
Shocking Web. No,
yes, it does. Does
it?
Right? Yeah, if it knocks out
80.
Charizard, it knocks out Grimmsnarl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then 50 more.
Okay.
Yeah, 180. It does 180.
S2 then.
Attached.
I think it's in the mix with B. I think the deck is pretty bad, and I'm not going to play it myself. But I think positioning wise, it's pretty solid.
I still don't think
it's the logic of being I don't want to play Bolt because of Watchtower fear that I just get scammed.
I still don't think it's better than
But do you
Raging
have?
Bull.
Do you still? Do you?
But-
It's what was its positioning pre Grimsnarl? Because you're still facing up against. Polk,
So it's like
Guardy.
it's yeah. So it's always been slight negative into the other stage too.
right. So,
But I
which
also
doesn't
think
feel
user
good.
error. Somehow a deck so simple also has user error galore. Like I don't
That is
understand.
also very true.
I don't understand how people can play such a simple deck so poorly.
Because they see 2 prizes light up on their screen.
Because they
Yeah.
they
And it-
they
and
have
it
a
gets
very
taken.
it's a very linear game plan in their head, isn't it?
Yeah, they get
But
told
it,
that
but
this
it
is
can be
turn
very
one, this
linear
is turn
if you
two,
literally
this is
just
turn
sat
three.
back and went
Joltik, then
jolting charge
attack.
again.
Yeah.
Joltik,
this
charge, attack. That's it.
What's great is this is actually the best setup deck in format, and people don't actually know it. If someone's going to go slow into you, you vomit 11 energy in play and say, you are just dead, son. It's so crazy.
You are toast.
But it just has inherent
whereas
weaknesses
everyone-
as well.
Yeah,
Right? That's the only. It's mid and late game can sometimes just be god awful.
no doubt. No doubt.
And if
And
you're
that- I guess that's why I'm a little bit negative with it, because I mean, I faced up against it a couple of times in Utrecht. I didn't really see
The
much
fear
going on.
factor. Yeah.
Like, even though I was a very slow deck myself with Guardi at that point, right?
Yeah.
And then
It's
you know,
definitely
still-
fragile.
Yeah,
You-
I
you
think-
have to-
I don't know.
you have to capitalize on slow starts. If your opponent's able to,
TM Evo in Guard is bad for you as well. Actually.
It's terrible.
Like,
If-
there's-
if your opponent evolves into a stage 2 by turn 3, like your opportunities
Well,
of
I
winning
mean-
just reduce massively, right?
I do like the double gravity mountain. Like, one was copium, but playing 2 at least gives you some prayer to find it once in the
Do
game.
people play 2?
Yeah. Azul's been championing a picnic basket to ground.
Oh yes. Yeah, man.
You laugh. You laugh.
Oh, I laugh.
But
Oh yes.
but I do think that is a vibe. I think
It's
it's.
a vibe.
Listen, I'm not saying it's the best deck. I think it's like playable though. Like
I
C
just-
tier seems harsh to me.
Just realised you don't
Yeah.
have
Okay. Fine.
Arvin's-
I'll
my boat stiff on
retract.
you.
Well, don't. Take
What's
that
the
off.
next? What's next?
other.
Dragger Dusk.
Dragger
Some-
Dusk.
So intriguing that Dragger Dusk is the least played, because I think me and Alex are both going to say this is our top deck.
This is
for the
my S tier
format.
deck.
You would
this-
put
Oh,
this
it's
in S.
S tier.
I would
Okay.
put this in S.
Okay.
I just think it has everything you want in a meta game right now for it to be just ridiculous. And my honest opinion, we're not seeing it online because I think the top players will be playing this deck.
Mhm.
If I'm gonna guess that like the likes of people who have played it already before, Andrew Hedrick and other and like so on,
Trolling,
I think
yeah,
they
yeah.
will go back to this deck and pilot it, and they're not playing it online.
Yeah,
keep
they don't have
keep
to.
it,
They know what
keep
it
it
looks
quiet.
like.
Yeah, you don't have to, but generally keep it quiet because everyone wants to be playing the new decks. Go into NIC, win the tournament.
It's that
So-
simple.
I know it's
just
the
like
best. I know it's the best way of playing Dragon Ball, so therefore it's already top. It's already A or S, right?
Well, I mean, pre-Destined Rivals, I don't think that was true, but I think for this tournament, it is the best way, because I think specifically you need bombs into Grimsnarl.
Hmm. So are we saying S or high A?
We can put it in A
I-
for now.
I
Because
don't
it's,
mind either. Rab, if you can be the deciding choice. I would put it as the top deck. So would Alex. It's just whether you want to say there's an S tier deck or not.
It's like he's frozen.
I'll put a top A for now.
I've never seen a guy so still in my life, and I just
One-
saw
I'm
David
I'm
across
always
the weekend.
hesitant to say, like, if I'm putting one deck in, in my head, if I'm putting one deck in S, it means that it's just the overarching dominant deck of the format, and I don't think it's dominant. I don't think it's going to
That's
dominate.
fair.
I mean, we haven't had a format
Well,
of it yet.
would
but
would this intrigue you to say that it's got a 58% win rate into Gardevoir online over the last week?
That is
Yeah,
terrible.
well,
Favoured into Gardevoir.
Imagine.
That is pretty good, isn't it?
Wow,
Okay,
what a deck.
maybe yes then on that fact.
No,
But
I
how is
just-
it even going to
on
get?
that.
What's overall?
It's overall
Oh.
as good as well.
overall, its matchup spread is very, very tasty.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like got one red.
Okay,
It's
maybe
overall
maybe
over
maybe,
52%.
yes then.
Yeah.
Oh,
almost 52%,
really?
Yeah.
Is that Okay, maybe an S tier then. Okay, fair enough. Next.
Next up we have Goldengo Dragapult. Now this has been battering tournaments.
But
Mostly by one person. Two people. King Heracross has got a first, second, and first. And
look at this.
Labui has a first and a first. And more results, actually. There's seconds and thirds down there as well. There's loads of them.
Continuing.
So, their meta-manipping Dengo back is all I'm hearing.
I mean, I'm happy to put this B. I don't think I'd put this A, but
I don't mind this top of our B.
Yeah, it's in B.
It plays no new cards at all. So it's just saying that Dengo's in a fine place. I need to look at the data for Dengo into Grimmsnarl, actually. Does that make a big difference?
Let's have a little look. What I've got it. I might have it up.
Yeah, Dengo is pretty good at beating Grimmsnarl, almost 60%. It's a 59% from the handful of online events, but also
what is Monkey Frostlass doing by itself? Not too much. You can try and Badoo lock mid to late game when if they stretch
I feel like,
over.
Yeah, I feel like that would have been one of the win cons. And it does play Turo and it plays Monkey Dory, so it can undo a lot of... Like, one Turo should be devastating for Grimmsnarl, right? I think. So I can see that logic of it being fine. Maybe bottom of A. Like, I can see it being... Can I see it? Yeah, I can see it sneaking onto our graphic, maybe, as a decently played deck. It doesn't... You don't need much of an excuse to play it, and it has the online results.
It's had a lot of popularity, especially over in our North America
the US
sort of circuit, right? So it wouldn't surprise me if it is the 6th most played deck. I think it's good. I don't know if I'd ever chuck it in A right now though.
Yeah, maybe top of B. Do you like it more than Dragazard? I think I do.
I don't know if I do either.
Better than Raging Bolt.
Better than Bolt.
it's better than Bolt.
Okay.
If you're gonna have a beat stick deck, it's better than Bolt.
Fine. Cool.
Fine.
It's card draw and card draw. It's one shot.
I'll put it bottom of 8 for now, just because of how.
Oh, here we go.
Just because
I just agreed with Alex that B is fine.
Well, it's a very highly.
No, Ben's had
diversified
the
card.
deciding factor.
You're in charge, Ben.
I mean, I'm only putting
Labels.
it in. I'm only putting it in A because it's a highly diversified B. I do agree with you that it's better than Bolt, but is it just about worse than Gardevoir? Is it a whole tier worse than Gardevoir? Anyway, yeah, fine. Next.
I personally think it's
Garchomp.
like Garchomp. Yeah.
D.
Is it better than Ethan's?
It's a lot of HP.
It's a lot of HP. It's got Rosa Ray for its extra damage. It's got built-in draw with its first attack.
Yeah.
Knock out some little mons.
It does.
What Spiritomb do?
Oh, you best be rid of that, boy.
Yeah, Spirit.
Because if you're hitting my Garchomp, I am coming back at you.
Jeez, okay, yeah. Big boy Spiritomb.
I'll put it in C.
Yeah.
Can
Next.
Roserade attack? No, it can't.
No. It does slack, though.
Oh, you don't need to evolve from a Budu to a Roselia. That's sad.
No. There's no Cynthia's Badoo. What's next?
Charizard Pidgeot. Now, interestingly, this has had a lot of murmurings because of the City League data. Not the City League, the Champions League results with various Charizards. Now, I personally think this should be further away from being good in the format and not getting back into the mix.
As Joe sounds like a broken record, but
unbelievable.
I agree.
I played Charizard recently.
I've just looked at this Champions League list. It's Charizard Duskmar, right? With Pidgeot.
Yeah.
There's just so many other decks you can play.
Faithful. Maybe it's just Pidgeot Duskmar being broken.
I don't know.
Is Briar OP? Do we just farm the Bolts, Boxes, and Dengos because we can go, haha, funny Briar?
Briar pretty OP. That's
you
definitely
idiot! I'm gonna Briar you.
Yes, you can. I mean, I'd say low B, high C.
C, just chuck it in C, I think.
Top of C.
Top C, yeah,
Top of C.
Thought so.
Alongside Rocket's Mewtwo.
What's next?
What a day.
Is there anything left? What's left?
Flareon is very underplayed. Right.
I like Flareon. I really like Flareon. I think if anything last weekend was to go by just putting in one Umbreon and completely flipping a matchup. I mean, why wouldn't you just put Leafeon in?
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't flip a matchup, but it's something. It gives you something. I think one advantage of the EV box is that you have so many options to play, right?
You do.
But it's how you
get to heal. Busted.
It's how you can use it. But I think it's fine. I think it's a fine deck.
There are even some Sylveon Lus boxes that are just Flareon Leafeon.
Yeah.
Because Leafeon is also very good into Dragapult. So you can just cut the Psychic stuff all together and just have Flareon Leafeon combo and say that's good into Draga and Grimmy.
Is there a way to play Leafeon and Umbreon, or is it one direction or the other?
You don't necessarily have to play Dark Energy to play Umbreon, right? You can just spend.
Oh, you can Spark and Crystal. Yeah, true.
Right.
Good point.
So you can play the whole shebang if you really want to. I think you do have to sort of pick your battles. I think the positioning of this deck is awesome, with the caveat that this is by far the most hurt by Watchtower. So
true.
Because
I guess it's the question is I know you banged on about it a lot. And I do agree because we've played all play cards that have locked out abilities before. But how many decks or people will be playing Watchtower?
That's the question.
In reality, if you had to put like a guess on it.
Listen, if I'm playing Secret Box in Gardevoir, if I'm playing it in
you'd play Watchtower in Gardevoir.
I would play Watchtower in those, and Dragazard plays Watchtower. I would, in my straight Dragapult, I think it's more important than Jamming Tower. Like, I would play it in a lot of decks, but I'm high on it. And I'm right on there with you, saying that you can easily go the entire day without seeing a Watchtower.
Yeah,
right.
So it's gonna be either way. I think
this is like yeah. So my only headache is that, like, if we think Bolt and Flareon combine to at least 10%, and I think that's and Terrabox, I guess you could throw all of those in. If you think those three decks, and maybe there's a random Charizard Pidgeot, they're easy going to be over 10% of your field, right? And I feel like a one-card box answer is, like, so good. And I know that there's, like, Chen Pao coming into the deck, but boy, do I not want to spend my Ultra Ball using Chen Pao. Like, it's the most... Flareon's such a delicate deck, and it needs to dual seek twice turn 2 very often, you know? It even shuts you down from evolving your EVEX, which is just sad.
You don't want to curse... How do you even say that? Attack. Coruscating Quartz.
Yeah.
For 200 instead.
Yeah, that would be depressing. So yeah, I think this deck is awesome if you don't fear Watchtower. I'm biased because I'm extremely high on that card, and I've been trying to brute force it into everything. So I'm, like, willing to face a Flareon for sure.
So if anyone's going to be facing Joe,
but do we think
you're facing Watchtower?
But do we think the Watchtower is too specific? Like it's never going to be.
I'm still high on.
It's never going to be more.
I'm still
than
high on
Noctowl
being the best engine.
It's not about how many you play, right? It's literally just about catching the player with the pants down of, like, you just don't happen to have your 3 stadiums in your hand. You know,
time to scam 2 turns from this game, so I win it.
Yeah, like, you can either just Secret Box turn 1, going second, and just jam it out there, or you can be like, okay, they've taken the tempo, Iono Tower.
Because we've seen Dragon Ball recently just putting 2 Jamming Tower in their list. Like, it's
correct.
They don't need the space; they could just put the 2 Jamming Tower in there for just this 2.
I mean, it's for
two specific matches.
Yeah, it's not for aesthetics.
Obviously, it's for Gardevoir.
That's
but I don't know. I think that'll be the biggest question on my mind. I think going into
specifically
how many Watchtower would you see?
I think specifically Dragazard can play it because it has the balanced Gardevoir already, right? But, like, Drago Dusk probably still has to play Jamming Towers or Tower 1.
Oh, I don't know. I just
But-
play Flareon.
Listen, this is all the caveat to me saying Flareon I would put in A tier, because I
Okay.
don't think I don't think you'll hit enough Watchtower, and I think Leafeon clowns Grimmsnarl pretty hard.
I'm a really big fan.
I still think it's a B deck,
I-
but it's a high B deck for me.
Well, I see it as an A tier, so I'll put it low A.
I'll put it bottom of A. Yeah. Put it
Yeah,
bottom of A.
bottom of A. Yeah. What's next?
Next up, we have some decks that we're not talking about. Oh, there's Roaring Moon. There's Poison Moon. We can talk about quickly.
Yeah.
Have we got Poison Moon on there?
We do have.
You don't
want
want
to.
to. You don't want to chuck in our tier list. Ho-Oh Armor Rouge.
No.
Jack will be devastated that we're not talking about it, but we won't.
Ethan's hello.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. Roaring Moon.
Roaring Moon. Where do we
Some
see
sort.
Roaring Moon? I mean, I see a B tier.
I would probably go C, because one of your main selling points was a wave of Gardevoir, and I can see Gardevoir being more around like the 12% now, rather than like the 15.
Put a high C then. Do we see it being better than Zard Pidgeot? A better pick?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Joe's
what's next?
barely considering any deck below in C and below, so don't worry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have so quick shout out. We're not gonna. Well, I mean, we could rate Yamega if we wanted to. It's just had online placements. I think it's like pretty average, but it's green.
Yeah, it's not even on you. Sorry.
Okay, Archaludon. This is like a monkey bomb build.
C.
Is that actually
its
what's
data
been doing
online
well?
is pretty good. Its data
actually
online
been
is
doing well?
so it's had a first and a second, and it's a simple deck. It's an honest deck.
I mean, I must say, I really liked the bomb list that you did. I thought it hit really good numbers.
Oh, it hits different. Oh, and I fit into Watchtowers.
And it really synergizes with itself. It insists upon itself. It's very good.
And its raw stats are already very good, and tipping it up a little bit more to now fear Raging Bolt a little bit less, and fear Joltic Box a little bit less, and just make more use of Monkey Dory. Like, it's just a solid deck, honestly. I don't think it's like mind-boggling, but I think it's like a solid B.
Yeah,
I think it's a really
it's
underplayed deck for the format.
I think it's low B.
This was like a top 5 performer
in.
in City Leagues, by the way. This did really well in their City Leagues in this format.
Do we want to put it in middle B?
I would put it just above Joltic Box.
I do like the fact that its worst matchups are getting downward in popularity. I think the only decks I'd be really scared of in this list are Flareon and Raging Bolt. Gardevoir, obviously, but
Gardevoir is probably a worse matchup, I think.
you can get around it with Bomb.
You can. You have monkeys and bombs, so it's close.
I mean, I'm thinking about the Bomb matchup, but
yeah, just quickly going over the. So before the Champions League, Arch Monkey was the 5th best performing deck in the City Leagues. So this is this was way more popular in Japan, and very under-respected, I think, from our player base right now. But I don't think it's not amazing. It's just like a very straightforward, honest deck.
We have 3 lists left in Terrabox, N Zoroark, and Walls, Melodic, Frigoraph.
So we will go with Terrabox next. The deck hit hardest by the new cards.
Yes, I'd put this low C, just because of how unplayable the aggressive strategy is now, with Shaman being involved.
We've had our Watchtower discussion already of like how much we think it's going to be.
There's two.
But the Shaman is still a big deal.
And there's too many threats now. There's too many counters to it. I think now for me to
annoyingly,
to
it doesn't matter that Terrabox and Zoro may still not turn up, and people will still play Shaman because of Grimmsnarl, and it's important to protect your basics against Grimmsnarl.
Yeah. There's
so
a big.
It doesn't matter that.
There's a big deck in format that needs to play Shaman, which automatically puts me off. So, yeah. I put it low C. What about you guys?
I'd put it top of C. I think there's like enough. Fine. Yeah, I think the Shaman's a real concern, but I think the Watchtower we think is not going to see enough play for how good the card is.
It has more options. It has more options than N Zoroark. I have N Zoroark and Melodic Frigoraph.
I would put Enzoro in D, unfortunately.
Yes, and I couldn't agree more.
It is Darmanitan the deck, so yeah, that does.
Couldn't agree more. Dave,
cool.
do you agree?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Drawing cards
and
is
then
great, but when you're
we
drawing
have,
into guff, it's pointless.
Then we have walls, which is something we discussed before we started. I don't know whether it was with you, Dale, or whether it was with Ben Pollock,
Well,
but
it was,
I think
it was kind of both, right? So
Ben
walls always was kept in check by quote unquote the best deck in format, or one of the big two, whatever you want to call it, the most winningest deck in God of War. Now, if you start thinking about the meta and how we kind of expect God of War to dip a little, and we say little, there's potential for something like this to pop off, let's per se. It had an okay performance. There was one that had an okay performance at Bologna, right? And that is
they're like hovering
21st.
around. Yeah, they're hovering around the top 32, top 16. They're like hovering. They're not like making a big puncture into the top standings, but they're making good. They're making good though. I mean, out of everything
this guy beat a God of War. He beat Garbor.
They're the best. They're the best. I'd say they're the best fringe deck. Wars. I don't know. I think as long as God of War's not doing well, I think Wolves could do well. Perfectly fine.
It basically lost a winning in against God of War.
Sad.
I think it can struggle against Joltik Box. It auto loses to Dengo Dragapult, or it should. Frost Grimsnarl doesn't sound fantastic, but I think for everything else, it actually does pretty well into everything else.
I just think the width of the format makes it hard.
Yeah, would it do well into Marley's Grimsnarl?
It's not amazing.
I don't think it would. No.
I mean, you have Ogapon, right? That it would be all in on Cornerstone, right? Cornerstone and Prey.
No, actually, you would do terrible, right? Yeah, it would do terrible.
Why?
Forget it. Because you'd have to play.
Why would it do terrible?
You'd play Cornerstone, and Cornerstone's too low of a HP to try and depend on for Frostlass stuff. You'd be three-shotting the
whilst they're
Marley's
still
Grimsnarl.
trying to confuse you.
Well, I imagine you play monkeys as well. I would imagine.
9 Wars. Well, I didn't.
There's one in this list.
I did in mine. I just played the 3-2 Farigiraf, the 3-2 Melodic, and
just covering the two matchups.
But then again, this is a good point, because it is a bit of a, like you said, Joe. The format's so wide, it is a bit of a weakness of the deck in trying to select and prioritize what you need. I mean, with Snorlax it was easy. It was just 4 Snorlax and the rest of the deck. But this is a bit harder, unfortunately.
Yeah. My hope is that it's a D tier, but I probably would put it in C tier.
Yeah. No, I probably still put this in D, by the way, but
yeah,
I think it's just like an interesting talking point.
Just for Rab.
High D.
I'll
put it high D. I'll put it high D.
I think, so
that's it.
The only other things, just even if we don't rate them on my radar, Mega, which we didn't really discuss, is interesting. Toadscroll is interesting. If you think there's going to be a boatload of Grim. And I think Blaziken EX is interesting now that it has evolutions that aren't useless. And I've already done a video on Blaze, and I'm still intrigued by it. Certainly intrigued.
Greninja in that.
How about Ethan's
not Greninja, no.
Not Greninja?
No,
Why
you've
not?
got the new baby Blaziken. Sorry, you want me to fit another stage 2 in this?
Yes.
How am I doing that?
Next.
Magcargo, probably not. I've had my fun with it. Trust me, I've had my fun.
Fun.
That was my first day on ladder. Getting out of Togepi and Diglett tier with Ethan's Magcargo, and let me tell you, I enjoyed my time.
You had some fun.
So
I beat a lot of. It's not as bad. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
If we're not in what's the one shot decks at the moment? It's still Goldengo and Bolt, right?
Goldengo Bolt.
Always has been.
You could put Joltik Box, I guess, but not for the big boys.
What sort of meta percentage are we saying with those? How about some Blissey? And Centre Scorch. Let's go.
Senti Scorch. Blissey's the best Monkey Dory deck. I've always
Hello?
said that.
Hello?
Big claim here by
What,
Benjamin
Grimstar
Yard.
Lorgani?
You can play
or-
4.
You can.
I'm in the energy moval. Mover.
Removal.
I can't even speak.
No.
I
If I
can't
speak.
speak. God, that was long, wasn't it? Hour
That
and
was a
40.
longie.
That was a longie. Our best one ever.
They'll say.
They'll say. Onto the football chat though. I can't believe they've bid on this Embuemo. I mean,
what do you mean? What?
Chelsea's got Delap, but I can't believe they've sacked they've sacked Brent in the dining room to pay for Embuemo to have 250 grand a week.
We haven't
Crazy.
spent anything yet.
Oh,
What are
they
you on
are.
about?
They are. They will. They'll get him.
Also, I would be astonished if anyone's still listening, but me and Rab did draw in the fantasy.
Oh yeah, we
football.
did. Yeah.
We were
yeah.
perfectly
Yeah, we did.
balanced by the end of the season.
Yeah.
A close run race, so we're going to do a lotto rollover and have, who knows. So let's answers on a postcard what the challenge should be for the loser, or the forfeit for the loser for next season, where we run it back. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Why
imagine we
not?
won't get any comments, so don't
Why
worry.
not? Yeah. There'll be 5 people on the edge of their seat.
But yeah, Delat, I didn't realise he's also a 2 IQ numpty.
Oh,
But-
you
but
can't.
he is.
What?
God bless.
What was his interviews
He's-
like?
He makes Cole Palmer sound smart.
No, really.
I put a post in our group already.
Have you not seen it?
I'll have to have a look.
Yeah, so we're gonna have the youngest and brightest player.
The brightest and the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Oh,
well, as long as they can,
imagine-
as long as they
can't
can,
wait.
as long as they can kick a ball. I mean, this doesn't matter, does it?
I hope.
Certainly can kick
Yeah.
a
I
ball.
hope.
Yeah, very good. All
What's
right.
this? I've
well,
just seen Yamal. Whoa, there was a 5-4 victory in the semi-finals of the Nations League for Spain.
Huge.
it's the final, wasn't
Yeah.
it?
No, semis. It's
Semis.
gonna be Portugal Spain in the finals, I guess.
Well, they were saying it's the
That will
Ballon.
be feisty.
It was the Ballon d'Or game today, wasn't it? It was Dembele versus Yamal, because they think whoever's going to win the Nations League will win the Ballon d'Or.
Surely Yamal will not win the Ballon d'Or.
Well, he's favourite. He's favourite.
What?
Yeah,
No.
yeah. He's favourite.
I know he
favourite.
obviously
He is-
he is incredible, but
Mo,
See his
Mo,
goals.
Mo Salah, I think, is third favourite, and then I think in second is Dembele. Who's
no.
not
Apparently the odds on the favorite right now, and it's like 4 to 9 odds is Ousmane Dembele.
Yeah. Oh, it's
After the
changed.
Champions League.
Okay. Fine.
The Lamine
It's
Yamal
probably
is-
after the Champions League.
Yeah, it's probably after the right. Yeah, you're right.
Lamine Yamal second, and then Salah, Rafinha are third and fourth, joint third.
Rafinha.
Rafinha.
Oh, God. If
I mean, he's a good
Rafinha
player.
gets
He has had a
Ballon
very
d'Or,
good
I'm
season,
actually- it
but-
doesn't. He's useless.
He's a good
He's
player.
useless.
He was playing for Leeds a couple of seasons ago. Can't
Yeah.
win.
Yeah.
He
And
definitely
Leeds
can't
are
win.
back. Leeds are back, mate.
exactly.
Leeds are
Bamford back up top. Come on.
So
Oh,
yes.
obviously,
Go on,
I was
fantasy
buying I was buying a infant kit for Nelly because I've got her into little kickers for next season, and there were so many different kits I could buy, and then Harry
Can Nelly
walked in,
walk yet?
I shown Harry. I said, what about this kit? And it was it was a really cool Ajax kit, and she was like, no, we're not buying an Ajax kit. She's getting one of the family favourite teams, and her uncle supports Aston Villa. Her grandfather, Harriet's dad supports Leeds.
Ooh,
I support
that's the
Celtic and Cardiff. We all support Cardiff, obviously. So it's
And
either
Chelsea.
It's
Do we?
either one of those. It's either one of those.
And you support Chelsea.
And her uncle supports Chelsea. Yeah. So
Unky Joe.
And
So if
Thank
I
you, Joe.
got her a Didier Drogba,
no, it's got to be
the
John
one-
Obi. Surely
the one
John
thing-
Obi. kit.
the one thing that was cool on the because they have, of course, massive retailers with all the baby kits, and they're always all on sale because nobody's buying them. And the Manchester City ones, you could actually get names on the back, so they were like baby kits with like Grealish on the back and Haaland and all that.
You're
They're
telling me
sour
you're
as
not just trawling through the webs for like
Nah.
AliExpress or DHgate?
What I'll do is when she's old enough, I'm going to take her to like Sports Direct or something and just say pick a kit and just buy it.
Pick a random kit and we will support that for one for the rest of your life.
And that's you done though for the rest
That's
of
what
your
you
life.
did.
Walks out with a Watford kit.
You support, isn't it?
Exactly. Just pick a kit that I like.
Yeah, it's choose the starters, then give her a kit.
Yeah,
the starters.
exactly. Okay. Well,
I
when
choose
you all
Bradford,
have to,
Daddy.
What? No. When you all have to NAIC now?
I fly Tuesday. I'm heading to JFK, doing a quick whip round, and then going to Philadelphia, and then flying with Emily a couple of days after.
Philly. You going to Paddy's Pub?
I hope so.
No, it's always Sunny reference.
Paddy's Pub.
Paddy's Pub.
Right,
I want to do. I do want to do the Liberty Bell and the Rocky Steps. So.
You are definitely doing the Rocky Steps, and if you do not dance to the Rocky,
at least halfway.
I need to see a picture of Joe with like a fanny pack on doing the.
I do want to do like a funny like I didn't make it style like lying down on the steps just, like, knackered. Because I'll be sweaty. I mean that'll definitely be happening. So it'll add to the aesthetic.
Very
Good
good.
bet on that. What about you, Dan?
Yeah.
I fly out Wednesday, so off work again. 5 days, 5 days off work, 5 days on work, 5 days off work.
It's not bad, is it?
Yeah, to NAIC.
What a life.
It is. It's a tough one.
You had a lovely
Well,
birthday though in Bologna,
I
didn't you?
Did.
Yeah.
Mrs. came
Me and
out.
Ross,
Christine was
and
there.
Christine, yeah.
Yeah. Very, very good food. Fantastic wines. Great coffee shops. I found some unique little places, which is always great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, looking forward to more. This time without the missus. Who knows what I can get up to? Hopefully nothing too great.
She's not checking an hour and 45 in, so say what you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's fine.
Yeah. No.
Get a message from Logan Madden at 4 a.m. one day. No. I'll be on my best
Where
behaviour.
are
I'm
you?
working after all. Like
Very
I said,
good.
full of beignets.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, hopefully both of you will bring me a box of Twinkies back home.
Twinkies.
Yeah.
That's his
Of
thing.
course.
Right. Hasn't Emily brought you back enough yet?
No. None.
None. Joe, what you been doing?
It's a joke. Right. Okay. Well, we got to end it there. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Spill the TCG once again. Congratulations if you made it this far. Really. Power to you.
Why?
Yeah. Why is my question. But thank you everyone, and hope to catch you next time after NAIC. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.
Best one ever.